Welcome in. Belly up, have a seat, grab a drink as we talk some Wingman Fantasy Football. Welcome on into another edition of Wingman Fantasy Football, the League Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Furley, and as always, I'd like to thank all of you, or any of you who may be watching or listening to today's show. It is Saturday, November 29th, and this is episode 202, and we're about to do a Week 13 preview. And it's my great pleasure, my honor, my distinct privilege to welcome back to the bar Mr. Bernie, a.k.a. Team B.
I'm Cuban B. Yes, Cuban B.
How are you doing this fine holiday weekend, Bernie?
Oh, I'm just recovering from all of the thanks I gave, and I told that green bean to castle roll its ass out of here.
Oh, wow. I enjoyed that pun quite a bit. There's a lot of layers to that casserole joke. Oh, double pun in your face. All right, guys. Like I mentioned last week, we're going to try and change the format up just a little bit here. So this time we're doing an in-depth preview of our Week 13 matchups for the remainder of the games for our Sunday and Monday games. We'll do that by starting off with some player news and practice reports. We'll let you know our starts of the week. We'll preview the remaining NFL games for the end of the weekend here. There will be another installment of a Fourth and Long with Bernie. We grab our controllers as it's our last match for phase number 4 of our Wingman Jam. And court's in session, guys. Boom, boom. As it's our first trial of the season in the Wingman Fantasy Court. And we'll dive deep into this week's mailbag. But before we do any of that, I'd like to make sure that everybody is in the room. Wingman Assemble! All right, now that everyone is here, I hope everyone had a gluttonous and safe Thanksgiving, but now it's time to get back to work. We're going to do that by getting into some player news. So the good thing about recording these on Friday night instead of Thursday night is we have some clarity with some of our availability of the players we've been watching all week. We're going to start out with the players that have been ruled out for Week 13. We've got Alvin Kamara, New Orleans Saints running back, is ruled out. However, they are not expected to put him on IR. We have Drake London is out once again for Atlanta. Arizona will be without 2 running backs. Amari DiMercado and Trey Benson has not yet been activated from the IR. J.J. McCarthy for Minnesota will be out this week. Let's see what kind of different offensive output we can get from those Vikings this time around. Las Vegas will be without Michael Mayer. Amari Hampton, we were keeping an eye on this one. He will not be activated ahead of the Week 13 games this week. And Washington will be without Jaden Daniels and Noah Brown this week. Let's stop here real quick with the players that are out. Bernie, what do you have to say about any of these guys?
Well, I hope that they enjoy their break because most of their teams will need them. Some of their teams will need them. No, nobody's going to need them. There are Amari Hampton, they'll be needed. Drake London, not needed. Trey Benson, they might be needed. I don't know. But that's really it. Everybody else, enjoy your time off.
All right. Yeah, I think the Amari Hampton one was he's had his practice window open coming out of the bye week. I saw that Kamani Vidal was one of the more dropped players this week, and just in general, not in our league necessarily, but some people might have dropped him a little prematurely as he's going to have a pretty good matchup and one more major start here for Vidal. All right. Yeah. Let's see. Let's get on to some other player news. We have Justice Hill was actually placed on the IR ahead of the team's Thursday night game, and we saw a new backup running back take over some work there while Derrick Henry was mysteriously missing some time during the game. Shedeur Sanders will start once again for the Cleveland Browns. Matt Gay will get the call to be the 49ers kicker once again in Week 13. Alec Iomanner, who missed last week with a hamstring injury, is listed as questionable for Week 13. However, Iomanner did log in 3 limited practices this week. We've got Brian Thomas Jr. is off the injury report, and it appears he's going to make his return to the lineup for the Jaguars. Daniel Jones, they said it was a calf injury last week. I don't know if this is a different injury or just how they mentioned it last week, and they found out that it's really a fractured fibula. However, he's expected to play through it in a huge divisional matchup against the Texans. And then CJ Stroud has cleared concussion protocol and will get the start this week against those Colts. All right, so what do you have on this first block of games here? Justice Hill is out. Shadur Sanders going to start. We've got our AFC South players. A lot of guys are returning, and we're not sure about one or two of them.
With Shador Sanders, I mean, you're going to avoid him, honestly, not until they see something good, and that really brings down that whole receiving core there. Did you go over Matt Gay, or did I just? Is that a random?
No, I said it.
Okay, okay. Um, well, yeah, I'm not going to comment on a kicker. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah. AO Minor, AO Manor, Cam Ward. I mean, is he really gonna be anything more than the rookie to rookie, connection? Calvin Ridley's out for the season, so yes, he is. That's going to be a big deal right there. I would avoid him if he's active, though, honestly. And then Brian Thomas Jr. What do we got for Brian Thomas Jr.?
He's missed like three games in a row, so this is a big return if he makes it back. Seems like he is.
Yeah. In his absence, though, I think Parker Washington and Jakobi Meyers have proven that they can hold it down. So maybe take a little precaution if you've been playing Parker Washington, and that's it. Jakobi Meyers, though, I would say he's a good flex option. As far as Daniel Jones goes, that this is kind of a big deal. He's pretty much the guy that makes things happen. So, who does this really affect? I think it affects the entire team. If anything were to go bad here.
Yeah, I'm getting a little nervous for the Colts here. They've been kind of slowing down, and I feel like this gives them an excuse that I don't think that I don't know if it's going to be real or not, but it's going to be a narrative setter for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
And then CJ Stroud should be good to go. I would go ahead and I would actually start him. Usually I'm not starting people on the first thing back, but I think CJ Stroud is okay to go.
All right, fair enough. All right, moving along. Other players in our 1 o'clock games. We have Darren Waller who has been designated to return for the Dolphins ahead of Week 13. The star tight end is listed as questionable at the moment, but he may be activated. Please do remember here that he must be activated by 4 p.m. later today on Saturday, or he will then officially miss Week 13. Chris Olave is listed as questionable. He was removed from practice on Wednesday as he was dealing with back spasms. He did return to practice on Friday. He's trending towards playing, but just keep an eye on him. He's listed as day-to-day, and these are one of those injuries that are not serious enough to keep him out, but it can have a flare-up at any time. We see with basketball players all the time that all of a sudden they just can't go. So don't assume one way or the other that Chris Olave is going to play. Again, not a deteriorating injury here, but if he has a flare-up at the wrong time of day here, it might be an issue for him. And then Devin Neal, we mentioned that Kamara is out. Devin Neal has been removed from the injury report. He is going to be the starter this week, getting a ton of opportunities against the Miami Dolphins. And we'll just stop right here since we got our Dolphin Saints game here, Bernie.
Yeah.
Do you think this is a good matchup? And just as generic as possible, do you think it's a good matchup for a running back against the Dolphins now? They've had some big rushing games against them, but they've also been kind of tightening things up the last couple weeks.
With Devin Neal, maybe a volume based, a good flex play. The Dolphins, I don't know. I don't know who they are defensively.
I never know what they're going to do. I never know what they're going to do.
It's like, how did they wake up this morning and then go from there? The only thing that really hinders Devin Neal is Taysom Hill.
Yep.
And what's he going to do at the goal line? But Olave, he's going to be a risky wide receiver too. Who was the first guy here? Darren Waller. Even if he's starting, even if he's active, I'm not starting him.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So.
All right, we're moving on to our next game here. I kind of grouped these in games the best I could to help us out here. So I got Bucky Irving, has no injury designation. He's going to return this week, although the coach said he's going to kind of do a hot hand approach and maybe ease him in, not looking to give him a huge workload unless he is the hot hand, Bucky Irving, that is. So I saw his projection went sky high. I was going to put him as a start of the week because I like the matchup, but he's projected to get like 14 points, and I don't trust that coming off an injury here. Baker Mayfield, who exited week 12 with a shoulder injury, is officially listed as questionable. However, the Bucs' Mad Dog quarterback is trending towards playing. But again, with these types of injuries, any flare up or bad hit could really set him back. On the other side of the field, we've got our Arizona Cardinals, Marvin Harrison Jr., listed as questionable as he recovers from that appendectomy from just a couple weeks back. The reporter said that he's moving well in practice. However, when asked how he's feeling, he said some things feel perfectly normal and some things feel a little uncomfortable. So I hate to judge a player, but we kind of think that Marvin Harrison doesn't have that dog in him to some degree, maybe, not full dog anyway. So if he's not feeling great, even on some of the activity he's asked to do, I could see that hindering him on the field, but that's just me kind of going off the top of my head here. And then Bam Knight is listed as questionable as well. We already mentioned that Trey Benson will not be activated. Amari DiMercato is out. If Bam Knight is limited or does not go, that means Michael Carter is going to be the only one this week in a relatively tough matchup against Tampa Bay. But if they can't get a lot of points on the board due to an injured Mayfield or a Teddy Bridgewater, that running game might be a little more viable for a little longer into the game, regardless of the score here. So what do you have on these guys in that Tampa Bay Arizona game?
Yeah, Bucky Irving, low end RB2, maybe a flex, but like you said, a snap count concern there. Sean Tucker's been the hot hand recently. He remains a goal line back here. Rachad White's going to be also in the mix because he's healthy. So it's a risky play. But sometimes in a 14 team league, you just don't have any options. Baker Mayfield, though, this is a big concern. Everything changes if Baker's not starting.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the backup over there in Tampa?
It was Teddy Bridgewater. He looked awful.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Teddy Bridgewater. If Teddy Bridgewater starts instead of Baker, then you avoid all Bucks pass catchers. Kind of zone in on the running backs, but that's what the defenses will also be doing, is zoning in. What do we got? Marvin Harrison. I don't know. Marvin Harrison, risky wide receiver too, I guess, too. Again, snap count concerns there. Bam Knight. What do you? I think Bam Knight's okay. He's a little desperate play for me, but it should be a fairly good game for Arizona rushing. Just like you said before, who's Arizona gonna really get the ball to? The one guy again and again and again. So we'll see.
All right, moving on to our next couple of games here. We have Max Brosmer. We mentioned J.J. McCarthy is out this week for the Vikings, meaning Max Brosmer will make his first NFL start this week against the Seattle Seahawks. This is truly a question mark, as we have no idea how good this guy is, but we're almost thinking that we'll take the mystery box here, as J.J. McCarthy has really been one of the worst quarterbacks in terms of fantasy and even regular quarterbacking over the last 5 weeks or so. So I think there's a chance, just as a randomness play, there's a chance Justin Jefferson might finally have a good game this week, as he has someone maybe just pepper him with targets. On the other side of that game, Kenneth Walker is dealing with a glute injury. Once again, he's got a pain in the ass. He did play through the same ailment last week and appears to be able to play through it this week. Nonetheless, he is listed as questionable, so we'll get a little more clarity on his availability heading into Sunday morning. We'll go to our next game here. Aaron Rodgers will make the start. I repeat, he is going to start this week. He sat out last week with that fractured wrist, but he's going to get back on the field in a huge game, as both these teams are kind of fading a little bit, and both in the playoff hunt. The Aaron Rodgers of the Pittsburgh Steelers are playing against the Buffalo Bills. In that same game here on the same side of the ball, DK Metcalf has been dealing with an ankle injury, but he is going to play this week. And Curtis Samuel was placed on the IR, meaning they promoted Gabe Davis as he was signed to the active roster. All right, we'll stop here with our Vikings Seattle game and our Buffalo Pittsburgh news.
Yeah. So what's this kid's name? Brosmer? Yeah, that's great. He's an undrafted rookie making his first NFL start. So this is not and pretty late into the season as well. So this is all signs say start Seattle's defense. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, their ceilings have now just been lowered. They're going to get some, but they're definitely not. They're not going to be a boom by any means.
I'm going to stop you right there. Lowered from what? Addison had a goose last week.
Yeah, there you go. That was his floor. So, so Justin Jefferson shows signs of getting. He just needs somebody to get him the ball in space, right? In the right place where he can go up to catch it. not overthrown, not out of bounds, not thrown behind him, when he got a crossing route going on. And Jordan Addison, if everything plays out properly, Justin Jefferson should take the double team and Jordan Addison should get open. I think this kid will be not terrible, but it's too risky. But you've got to start Justin Jefferson. Obviously, you're not going to start Jordan Addison.
Right.
So yeah, yeah. So their ceilings, if Justin Jefferson's ceiling was at 18 or 20 or 25, it's now at 15 or 12, something like that.
I think you're the Justin Jefferson man. You'll be ecstatic to get 12 or 15 right now.
Oh yeah, I would say so, but that's the ceiling.
I hear you. I hear you. Gotcha.
That's on the great game.
Yeah.
And then Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker is a start. I think he's going to be fine. I think we'd start him as like RB2 with confidence here going into this game.
All right. What about the our Pittsburgh players?
Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers. Do we got to talk about Aaron Rodgers again?
You don't have to. I'm just saying he's playing.
Yeah. I'm okay with Aaron Rodgers playing. QB1. Mid-tier QB1.
Would you not be afraid of a bang up here? He gets sacked once, gets hit on the wrist here one time. I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, I am, but I'm not like it's Pittsburgh. I'm not starting Pittsburgh players. Is it Warren? Is that the only Pittsburgh player that is worth starting?
Jalen Warren, even Kenneth Gainwell has actually been pretty productive lately.
Yeah, and DK Metcalf, I thought he was going to do good last week, but he didn't. Start him as a wide receiver too, but I wouldn't expect much from Pittsburgh at all. I think they're playing the Buffalo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Buffalo's going to have a good game against these guys. Curtis Samuel, drop him in all formats. I wouldn't even bother with Curtis Samuel. And Gabe Davis, there's a reason he retired. You're not picking up and starting Gabe Davis. This is going to be James Cook. This is going to be what's his name? The tight end.
Kincaid, but he's hurt too. Actually, I didn't put him in the news. I don't know if he's going to play or not, to be honest with you.
Oh, well, then Dawson Knox is coming alive. Yep. And yeah, I see maybe Davis getting 1 20-yard pass for a first down, and that's really it.
All right. Going on to our last games here, our primetime games. We've got Patrick Surtain. We don't mention defense too much, but we really do like to mention the Denver Broncos defense, as they're pretty fun to watch and pretty good here. He's back in the lineup this week after missing the last, 3 weeks or so. Maybe there'll be less pass interference calls on the other cornerback, Moss. I can't stand watching him play because no one gets stats for that. Just obnoxious. Just a free 30 yards every 2 drives for nobody. Marcus Mariota, we mentioned because Jaden Daniels is not going to come back this week, although a chance he might come back next week. I don't know if I would do that or not, but Marcus Mariota will get the start this week for the Commanders. And Terry McLaurin is back as well, as he's missed the last 3 games. He'll be back in a tough matchup against the Denver Broncos. So welcome back, Terry McLaurin.
Welcome back.
And also another welcome back, Jackson Dart, who missed the last 2 games with a concussion, will return to the starting lineup for the New York Giants on Monday night against the New England Patriots. So unfortunately for you, Bernie, there will be no Jameis Winston, but Jackson Dart is back.
Welcome back.
All right, what do you have on these players from that Commanders Denver game and the Giants New England Patriot game?
Yeah, with the news of Patrick Surtain and the news of Marcus Mariota, if you can avoid starting Terry McLaurin or Deebo Samuel, I would maybe do that. But obviously that's too big of a name right there. Marcus obviously gives you a little bit of something on the ground, but that's really it. It's going to be a tough sledding against Denver. Terry McLaurin though, maybe I'd bench him. Honestly, with Marcus as a quarterback, I don't have any faith in Terry McLaurin.
I mean, McLaurin came back that one game. He was the best thing in that awful game. I forget who they played. It was an awful game. Mariota played awful, but McLaurin was the best thing about it. But then he aggravated it in the middle of the 4th quarter, so he didn't even get through a whole game as he returned from that injury the last time.
Exactly, and then Surtain's going to be blanketing him because he's the only viable option on that team right now. And then Jackson Dart. This is great. This is great news for the New York TV market. It's great news for any coaches left that thought they might get fired after this week. But he's you're not going to start him unless you're in a super flex 2 QB league or something.
All right. All right, guys, we're getting right into it. We're going to give you the goods right here. We're going to get to this week's starts of the week.
Bring it in. Take a knee. Who wants in?
Oh, pick me! Oh, I know, me!
All right, son, don't let me down. You're in.
Wingman Fantasy Football starts of the week.
All right, Bernie, we're going to get into our last week's starts of the week. So we're not afraid of accountability here. Going into last week, we were 27-35. Ouchie. I fell to 14-16. Bernie's at 13-19. But last week Bernie went with Trevor Lawrence as his quarterback, who was projected at 17.6. It was one of the highest scoring quarterbacks last week at 25.1 points. So he got a thumbs up on that one. Way to go, Bernie. DeAndre Swift, projected at 12.7, was Bernie's running back pick. He's been really good all year, but came in with one of those random duds last week at 3.4. So unfortunately, Bernie missed out on his running back start of the week. And DK Metcalf with that early touchdown. You actually got the push here, Bernie. No loss, no win. Projected at 12.2. He came in at 11.9 in that half-point range we give for a grace period there. So you had a plus, a negative, and a push. So a 1-1-1 or a 1-1-0 as we do it here. I went with Matthew Stafford, projected at 19.4, came through with 22.9. David Montgomery, projected at 11.2, came in at 5.2, so that was a miss. And then DJ Moore on Bernie's bench, just the way he likes it, projected at 8.3 points, came in with a whopping 20.9 points in that game. So last week I was 2-1. Bernie was 1-1, as we mentioned. Our new total is 30-37. That doesn't sound awesome, but we've got a couple weeks to get it back up. I'm now 16-17. Bernie's at 14-20. All right, Bernie, you have anything you want to explain yourself before we get into this week's picks or not?
Just listen, man. Kyle Monungai got the touchdown. So the running game was there. It just was the wrong running back. And then DJ Moore sitting on my bench. You know what that's all about, right? DJ Moore. I have DJ Moore and I have Caleb Williams, and they were both on my bench. And I started Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown. This was last week. This is week 12. They both stacks combined for the exact same total.
Okay. It would have been tough then to split that up in the right way, I guess.
Exactly. So it was pretty awesome. It was like 46 point something, and they were both the exact same total.
All right. So let's get into this week's starts of the week. I'll let you take it away, Bernie. Who is your quarterback start of the week for week 13?
Well, coming off of the Trevor Lawrence Express, it's hard to follow that up, but I'm going to go with CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud is back, and he is ready to continue the Houston defense dominance with a little offensive firepower.
All right. Yeah, I see him. He's projected at 17.5 points. So a nice middle number you could hopefully get to. My quarterback start of the week, I'm going in that same division, and I'm going even dirtier. I'm a dirty dog. I'm going Cam Ward this week. Against Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars give the third most points to the quarterback position, and we're going to see if this guy can double dip. Maybe he's figured it out with his favorite receiver, Chimere Dike. So we'll see how that one goes. So Cam Ward's my quarterback start of the week. Bernie, what you got at running back?
Very nice. Well, I'm going to pick up my phone, and I'm going to call Tyrone Tracey, 11.4. Jackson Dart loves himself a tight end that can get nitty gritty. So hopefully he picks Tyrone and not Devin Singletary.
All right.
What do you got?
I went up to the whole gambit here. I wanted a running back in this game, and I literally went through all of them until I settled in on Rachad White versus the Arizona Cardinals, who give the 7th most points to the running back position. He had the lowest projection of the three guys. I was going to go Bucky Irving, but he was projected for so much, and I don't expect him to have a full workload. And I also expect Bucky Irving and Sean Tucker to kind of eat each other's carries while Rachad White's going to stay in his other role. I don't think he's going to be affected too much by these guys. So I think he has a chance to beat that low projection at 5.7. Not sure if I mentioned this, but Cardinals give up the 7th most points to the running back position. Rachad White is my running back start of the week. Bernie, who's your receiver?
Well, I got a guy that, if it was 3 years ago, this would have been a no-brainer, but it's not. It's now, and it's Stefon Diggs. I think Stefon Diggs is going to be sneaky good the rest of the year. The Giants, they're giving up the fifth most points to that position. He's not the number one on the team, but that's okay because he's going to put up number one numbers, projected at 12.8 points.
I won't lie. I put him in my list real quick. I kind of put names before I look at their projections, and then that's kind of like, oh, I don't like that. Like I said, I put Bucky Irving in, saw the 13-9. I'm like, never mind. I put in Stefon Diggs and saw that 12-8, and I'm like, never mind. A little too high to count on here. But I do agree. I think this game against the Giants on prime time on Monday night will be a decent chance here, a decent chance for Stefon Diggs to show up. So I like the name here. I'm just a little afraid of the output that he has to get to beat his number. Nonetheless, I'm going with Jakobi Meyers. If I looked at this right, he's projected at 6.6 points. With the return of Brian Thomas Jr., they finally have a full receiving room here, and we're going to see which ones are going to be the favorite target when it comes down to the options for Trevor Lawrence. I think Jakobi Meyers is one of the more reliable guys in this group here, and he hasn't really been in sync with Brian Thomas Jr. all year. So at that 6.6, that's just a value play in my opinion. I think Jakobi Meyers can be a wide receiver 3 or a sneaky flex this week. Against the Tennessee Titans, you give up the 4th most points to the receiver. Jakobi Meyers is my receiver start of the week.
All right, that's a good one.
All right, guys, we're going to get into the preview game, and because there's no teams on bye this week, we've got a ton of games to go through, so we're going to try and do this as judiciously as possible. Of course, no promises here. All right, our first game is a 1 o'clock game. We have the San Francisco 49ers going nearly across the country against the Cleveland Browns, a 1 p.m. start. Before we get into the over-unders, I have to let you know this game is a weather alert game. It's going to be freezing. There's a chance for some precipitation, and the winds are going to be blowing between 20 to 28 miles per hour. Stay away from your Matt Gay kicker, for example, as we mentioned earlier. And that might explain, I had to look this up. I was like, why is this over-under so low? And that's why. 36.5 is the over-under on this game. San Francisco favored by 4.5. Bernie, how do you think this game's going to go? What's your pick on the win and or cover?
Yeah, I got the 49ers actually winning this game. I know it's a surprise, but winning it by 7, 20-13. So going under, but I'm definitely getting the 49ers to cover that.
I've noticed a trend here. I went through all my picks here. I'm going to a lot of upsets, guys. I got Cleveland to cover, Cleveland to win. We saw, I don't know if you recall, it was 2 years ago or last year, Brock Purdy against Cleveland in a rainy day he's one of those guys who cannot handle the ball when it's wet. There's like 3 or 4 guys who are just, they're going to have a hard day if it's bad conditions. And he's one of those guys. I forget what it was. It was like a 9-6 game where Cleveland won. And that's when they went to the Super Bowl that year, I think. So I'm not saying this game's going to be exactly that, but I don't have any confidence in Brock Purdy in weather games. So I'm going to go with the team with the better defense. I'm taking Cleveland to cover and win this game.
Oh, very nice. Okay.
All right. With that being said, at least regardless of how you think they're going to handle it, it is going to be a tough conditions here. Are there any players here that you would stray away from because of the weather, or other guys you're just going to start no matter what? Like McCaffrey, I would assume, is in. Kinshawn Judkins has been slowing down, but again, this might be a running game kind of thing. I should give him a little bump up to where you would normally have him. That doesn't mean he's in your starting lineup, but I would say he's a running back 3. I would say, give or take, maybe running back 2. Anyone else catch your attention of maybe moving up or down based on the matchup here and who might fall out of your lineup?
Yeah, Brock Purdy actually is moving down. He's got a risky play. He's thrown 7 interceptions in 4 games this season, including 3 against the Panthers. So Cleveland's defense, like you said, is really, really good. I think this is going to be a running battle, and I'm going to move up on Christian McCaffrey, and I'm going to move up on George Kittle because I don't think Brock Purdy is going to have time to do anything else. What do you think about that?
No, that's exactly what I agree with. It all depends on which receiver you think is going to be the guy he can get to quickest out of the snap.
Mm-hmm.
You would normally say your tight end. I don't necessarily disagree, but I'm trying to like not just give a blanket statement because Kittle, like I could say Kelsey is more the quick shake inside 5 yards, and I think Kittle's more the up the seam type of guy and more like deep outs. Doesn't mean he can't change his style here when the weather permits it here. So I would still go Kittle over Juwan Jennings, for example, but I'm trying to think realistically and honestly, which guy is the more likely to be the short break-in guy between those two. Maybe this might be a Pearsall game. Maybe that like quick shifty guy who just does the option routes on those, run up 3 yards and play the defense inside outside. Maybe that might be the guy who might have a better chance today. But again, that all favors Christian McCaffrey. The short passing game, like you said, they're going to go to McCaffrey any way they can. They might be stuffed in the run, but they're going to get him in that screen game. And I think he's really the only guy you can start in this game.
Yeah, I think so. And then San Francisco's defense is I'm moving up. Shedeur Sanders, he got the win, but he didn't show me that he is a fantasy relevant numbers for himself and for his team. So let's stick with the running backs there, Judkins and San Francisco defense.
So I kind of want to do this.
Moved up.
I want to do this the best we can. By a lot of games, gonna be hard to memorize here. Let's just so Judkins is the only one that pops out to me. And Judkins and Jennings. Let's do this. Are these guys automatic starts, or are they going to be depending on what options you have, make it as your like last flex guy? Let's just break them down that way first.
Because of the weather, I think they're not automatic. They're going to be flex options for me, and just because of the weather.
All right, so we're going to pull about 1 to 3 guys out of each of these games that we're going to compare with the similar guys later, and we're going to try to do our best to let you know who we're going to play here. So I'm going to move Jennings off to the side as not an automatic play here. He's going to be a flex consideration here. And we'll just say Judkins, he's earned the right to be an RB2 at this point, just to make it easier on us. So we're going to come back to Jennings with all these guys. We pull all these games, and we're going to kind of pick up here who we think we're going to put in there. All right, our next game here is also a 1 o'clock game. We have all of our AFC South teams are playing each other. And this is a big-time battle here as these wins are really going to make a difference. Jacksonville Jaguars, I should put their record. Are they 7-4, I think, up against the Tennessee Titans, who are 2-8 maybe, or 1-9. What are they? 1-9?
1-10.
1-10. Ooh, yeah. They're like lionized. Oh, my gosh. Okay. All right, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars up against the Tennessee Titans. Another 1 o'clock game. This game is in Tennessee. The over-under is 41.5, and Jacksonville is favored by 6 points. I'm not saying they can't do it. They've had some big games, but you can't trust Jacksonville. What do you have on? How do you think this game's going to go? Who do you think's going to win and cover and all that good stuff?
You're unbelievable. Do you not just remember the last segment we did when you said that Trevor Lawrence was one of the highest point totals? Yeah, Jaguars 27, Titans 17.
All right. Yeah, but he had a good game. He can't do it back to back. That's the thing. He's got the two of them. He's got a lot of two in him. He can't do it back to back. Actually, I'm going with Tennessee to cover and win my second upset of the week here. So I think Tennessee at home and Jacksonville, thinking they're so good, is going to be sneakified here, and they are going to lose this game, is my opinion. I'm probably going to be wrong. Let's get into some players here that we're considering here. Let's just start with the quarterbacks. Again, I'm Cam Ward of a start of the week. Very risky here indeed. What do you think about Trevor Lawrence and Cam Ward? Are you going to take your money and run, or are you going to go back and double dip with Trevor Lawrence in a starting lineup?
No, I'll go back and get Trevor Lawrence a little action there. I think he's going to be just quite all right, honestly. He hasn't shown me that he is, well, you know what? No, I take that back. What did he have? 3 interceptions and a lost fumble.
Yep.
So, but he also had, 3 touchdowns to his 9 interceptions, and we don't get dinged for interceptions. So I think the 3 touchdowns kind of help out a little bit with that. The 3 touchdowns help out with a little bit. So I'm game on Trevor.
So on these two quarterbacks, they're definitely back end starters. Let's put it this way. They're not automatic. You probably have someone better on your team, but again, we have these injuries. People like Baker Mayfield, for example. I'd rather play. It's tough to put in Cam Ward, I'm not going to lie. But honestly, if I was taking all emotion out, I'd rather play both of these guys over Mayfield this week, with the potential that he could be knocked out of the game again. We saw that last week. Leaving early is just, you need someone who's going to get a guaranteed 4 quarters at this point, in my opinion. So I could be convinced otherwise, but I would if I had Baker Mayfield, I'd be considering both these guys. Let's put it that way. And in other weeks, I wouldn't consider it at all. This week, I would consider either of these two quarterbacks over someone like that. Would you consider any of these quarterbacks over Brock Purdy? In the same vein, I think I would take both of them over Brock Purdy in that weather game, knowing what I know Brock Purdy does in such conditions.
I would take Trevor over Brock. I'm not high on Cam Ward.
That's fair.
So I wouldn't take Cam.
All right, let's get to the running game here quickly a little bit here. So we got 2 backfields that are split, although one has been way better. Travis Etienne has been actually pretty awesome in terms of stats, at least. And he gets enough breakaway runs mixed in with some power runs in, and they do mix it up kind of like a Swift and Monungai. Like, you're not really sure which one's going to get the short yardage work, although you think Tootin usually gets a little bit more, the same way Monungai gets a little bit more, but it's not a featured role in that sense. It's not like a guarantee they're going to pull out Etienne inside the 10. But nonetheless, they do split that a little bit. In terms of, I think ETN has earned, like I said, he's 4 straight games of over 15 points. He's earned an automatic start, even if you don't want to believe it. He's been one of the better running backs of the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, ETN is I'd say a middle of the pack RB2. I'm okay starting Travis Etienne.
Would you look to get Tootin in? He had a bad game last week. He came off that ankle injury, but he did play, although he didn't do much when he had a really good game the week prior. Is Tootin sitting on your bench, solidly on your bench, or are you going to try and get him in that back end flex?
No, he's solidly sitting on my bench. I'm not. It's too risky. I'm not playing that with that team. If he was on a different team, then I might consider it. But no.
I feel like Tootin is one of those guys, either circumstance, what have you. I'm not blaming him necessarily, but it's like he'll have one good game, one medium game, one bad game. And it's not necessarily in that order, but it's rarely back to back. And you're like, you want to wait to see it. And when you're ready to plunge in, he lets you down with at best a medium game and most likely the down game. And then you wait to see the good game. And then you get, again, the next time at best the medium game and most likely the down game. So it's really hard to get into a rhythm of playing him at this point. You almost got to play him off of a down game or middle game and hope that you get the extreme, because it's really hard to get a rhythm with this guy.
I agree.
All right, we got a receiver. Oh, let's go to the other side real quick. Honestly, I'm not looking to play either of these guys. They're
nobody
equal to Tootin, and they could be flexed, but I'm not looking to play neither Pollard or Spears. I'm not saying they're bad players, but they haven't done anything this year to earn the trust to get them in the lineup. And with no bye weeks, they shouldn't be in your lineups this week.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, our receivers on the other side, we have, like I said, we have a full complement, including Brenton Strange on the Jacksonville side. So you got Strange, who I think is their best. I think he's pretty equal, actually, to Jakobi Meyers as your possession type receiver. I think Parker is kind of a nifty. I think he's a good receiver too. He gets a mixture of types of plays here, and he's does a little better after the catch. The other guys are more rumbling guys. He has a little more explosiveness after the catch. And Brian Thomas, been hurt all year also, but when he's been on the field, he's either been hurt in those games that we're not aware about, or he just has been off all year long. Why don't you do me the favor here and just rank the 4 pass catchers here for the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Let's see here. Brian Thomas probably number 1.
Still okay.
Yeah, and Jakobi Meyers number 2. 1A, 1B. How about that?
Yeah.
And the rest of them, I have them all at the same where I wouldn't start them.
They're all very equal. I have Brian Thomas last. Just too much right now. The other guys I feel more consistent to me between Myers, Strange, and Washington.
Yeah. Strange might get it a little bit more. He should, but he's not going to. I think Parker Washington, like you said, has shown enough where he's equal in my eyes to Strange.
The only thing that would make these guys fall down to the bottom of those four player ranking is if you think with the addition of Brian Thomas, not because how good he is, because I don't think he's been that good this year, but he's going to be on the field where you might lose some snaps, might lose some targets in route running. Like Parker Washington, who's been one of their best receivers, honestly, over the last month, he might have a less snap share with Thomas in the lineup. Who do you think sits the most when Thomas comes back, Myers or Washington?
Oh,
you got one guy still getting used to the offense, and one guy who's doesn't have the pedigree of the other two.
I think if it's up to Trevor, I think it's Parker Washington. I think that they probably want to get Jakobi Meyers more worked in, and having him on the field the same time as Brian Thomas is going to be more advantageous for playing against the secondary here.
Gotcha. I think scheme wise, they want to get. Well, I think Washington's going to take the hit in terms of two receiver
Jakobi
sets.
Meyers is a wide receiver 2 on an NFL team easily. Could be a wide receiver 1 on some teams.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So unless they're doing 3 wide receiver sets the entire game, Parker Washington's probably going to lose a little bit of playing time, or it's Brian Thomas who's going to miss the playing time. He might be active and they might not put him all the way back in yet. So it's pretty dicey here. That's why I kind of think Myers and Strange are your safest guys, because I think their role is more solidified, and the other guys might be dependent on each other in a way that they might, if you're not sure which one's going to go, you might lose out on some opportunities.
Yeah, I can see that. I can get on board with that.
All right. Are there any of these defenses you're looking to play here? Jacksonville's had a decent defense in terms of turning the ball over, and Tennessee outplays the game script, but they don't outplay in terms of domination.
No, I'm not looking to play either one of these defenses, honestly. I think, yeah, Tennessee's defense definitely not. Jacksonville maybe, but I am I think Cam Ward's getting better and better, so I don't think he's going to make as many mistakes as he probably was making earlier in the year.
Is there any flex guy in this game you want to pull out to compare with Juwan Jennings and our other guys we pull out later?
No, I think that role comes down to Strange. Maybe Strange or Juwan Jennings.
All right, we'll pull Strange out for now. That sounds good to me. Our next game here is another AFC South game. This one is big, guys. We got two teams kind of going in the opposite direction, especially the last 3 weeks here. Houston Texans against the Indianapolis Colts. This game's at 1 o'clock. The over-under is at 44.5. The Colts are favored by 3.5 at home, which means, like we say, it's pretty much a pick 'em in terms of how good they think either team is, which is crazy to think, especially how these teams started their season. How do you think this game's going to go? Who do you think is going to win and or cover?
Are you going to be surprised if I say Texans 20, Colts 17?
No, I've got Houston winning and covering.
There you go.
Well, I guess
Daniel Jones,
yeah.
Daniel Jones is under siege here. Playing with his fractured whatchamacallit.
Yeah.
Unless Jonathan Taylor has the game of his life, this is going to be a tough sledding for the Colts. It's really going to show their resilience. I don't think that the Texans defense is getting any worse. They are only getting better. So it's going to be a tough game, and I think Texans might actually be able to win this one out.
I think so too. We saw how much the Texans dominated Buffalo, getting all those sacks on a very mobile and a bigger quarterback. I mean, they're both mobile, just in a little different ways, but they were able to get to Josh Allen over and over again. I think this injury is actually, obviously, he's not going to keep him out, but I think it's going to affect the confidence. I think Daniel Jones is very ride the wave kind of guy, and when a wave gets a little crashy, he really crashes hard. I'm not saying he's going to like implode completely, but we saw even the last game he did okay against the Kansas City Chiefs, but the way they were scoring at will for so many times hasn't been happening, and it's more so because they're playing better defenses. And Jonathan Taylor's awesome. There's no doubt about that, but he's got a tough stretch here down the stretch with some really amazing defenses. Kansas City last week shut down Jonathan Taylor, and Houston has a very similar pedigree, if not even stronger. They're actually a better defense in terms of NFL ranked. I think they're number one in yards and points allowed, all that kind of stuff that makes, I think they're even better like the 85 Bears. There's some, they can always mess these numbers around a little bit, but they're one of the more dominating defenses of the last decade in terms of stats. It's just we don't notice it because their offense has been kind of blah. We're not really paying attention here. So I'd be very worried on the Colts side here. I think we're going to find out pretty early in this game what kind of trend is going on if they can. Although last week they got off to a good start against Kansas City and they just couldn't maintain. Although I don't think the Houston offense can do what Kansas City can do in bunches at the end of the fourth quarter. Although as I say that, remember the Houston Texans had against Jacksonville where they scored like 19 points in the last 10 minutes to come back and win. So who knows? Exactly.
It's anybody's game on Sunday. That's a saying, right?
Yeah, something like that. We'll keep it local here. Which quarterback would you rather start? CJ Stroud coming off a 3-game absence here, but I guess healthy, even though he was struggling earlier in the year, or Daniel Jones, who has been awesome all year long, but it really he does have an injury. It's a real injury he's going to play through. Which one of these quarterbacks do you like better for this week?
Put me in the spot, Mike. Put me in the spot because, I literally just said CJ Stroud was my start of the week, but I'm all on board with Daniel Jones. So I am going to say, I'm going to say Daniel Jones. I can't go against it.
Okay. Would you put them both above Purdy at this point?
Yes, I would put them both above Purdy. Yes.
So we got 3 of our 4 AFC quarterbacks according to Bernie. And honestly, the only one I have over is Cam Ward, and I shouldn't even think that. But so he's got 3 of his AFC South quarterbacks ahead of Purdy, just for an example here, guys. All right, we got our running game in Houston here. Woody Marks, he really hasn't been doing that much, but he's getting all the work now, guys. And I don't know if you've noticed or not, Nick Chubb is getting 3 to 5 carries a game. Actually looks really good in those 3 to 5 carries. He almost gets as many rushing yards as Woody Marks does. But Marks is way more involved in the passing game. He's got a little more, wiggle to his shake here. But it all depends on the type of game. And the Colts, again, are a very complimentary defense. They're not great, but they are good enough. If the Colts offense can dictate the game script here, I just don't know if they can overpower the strength of the Houston Texans. So what do you think about the running game here with the Texans. Chubb is a sit. Does Woody Marks make your flex play? Are we going to have to pull him out, or is he an automatic sit here? What do we think?
This is Woody Marks against Jonathan Taylor. This is what this game is, honestly. And
you say it like that, I like the Colts a lot better now.
exactly. Just based on that, I think Indianapolis defense is good enough to keep Woody Marks in check. So, but I agree with you that Chubb does look good on the few carries that he does get. And there might be a moment in time where they say, "Hey, we just need to get this guy more carries towards the end of the season here." Maybe that's what they're saving it for. I think Chubb looks good. So, not that Woody Marks didn't look good, but I think Chubb looks a little bit better.
Yeah, I think both these guys are sit at this point. I guess only because of the workload. Marks might be your back end flex. I'm going to pull Marks out here. I want to put him in our John Jennings strange conversation at the end here. He might win it. Might be a little obvious, but I'm looking for other options. I'm not looking to play any of the Texans running game here. Not too much to talk about on the Colts sides of the running game. On our passing game here, Nico Collins had a couple really good games with Davis Mills. He's going against Sauce Gardner. I don't even know if Sauce Gardner is good. I can't even tell you that, to be honest with you. But he's going to be probably pretty much shadowed as much as the Colts do scheme-wise against Sauce Gardner here. So it's going to be a tougher matchup in terms of on paper. And then but last week they kind of used him not as a decoy. They used him to suck so many of the defense, and they spread the ball a little bit more to our Jaden Higgins and Christian Kirk last week. Nico Collins, I think, is an automatic start just because of where he's drafted and his potential. What do you think about Christian Kirk and Jaden Higgins? Where do they fall in this line here?
Yeah, they fall for me into Nico is the only guy to start in this game for a wide receiver.
Yeah, I agree.
They're on my bench, so I'm not even going to attempt to try to flex them in anywhere.
I'm not going to pull them out unless we know for sure. Would you play either of those guys, Kirk and let's go with all these guys: Kirk, Downs, Pierce, and Higgins? Are any of these guys ahead of Juwan Jennings? Just to see who might pull out here.
I might put Pierce ahead of Juwan Jennings in this game because of the weather of that San Francisco game.
Right. All right. We'll pull up Alec Pierce out. He's kind of like your back end flex receiver type player. We're going to pull Pierce out on this side here. I'll put Woody Marks back in. You're going to put him as your RB3. He's going to be one of your flexes. So we're going to pull out Pierce of this game to compare with our other ones if we can remember them. And then with that, does Michael Pittman become an automatic starter, or he's been kind of up and down? He's had some good games, but he's not overly reliable as long as the season's gone out here. Where do you put Pittman in this pecking order?
I think Pittman's an automatic start. He's a starting wide receiver for the Colts, and the Colts offense can produce points. If Jonathan Taylor can get it going, that opens up that receiving game. So you gotta have Pittman in.
What about Tyler Warren on the tight end side of the ball? He's been decent all year. He hasn't had any blow-up games. When he gets a touchdown, he gets 13, 14 points, but he's usually in that 6 to 13 point range. Been really good on the field, but not overly prolific. And again, another tough matchup against the Houston Texans.
Yeah, he'd be a really, really stretch flex for me there. What's that called? A super flex? Yeah, something like that. I'm not looking to get Tyler Warren involved yet.
Well, I'll tell you guys that I have Tyler Warren on my team. He's been in my starting lineup. We don't play tight ends. This is the flex. He's been in my lineup at least 4 or 5 weeks this year as he earned some of that spot, but he's not even close to consideration this week, as I'm even sitting Deebo Samuel because I got Kamani Vidal, Devin Neal, and PJ Harvey. All my young rookie running backs are getting play this week, so I actually have a lot of options on that way, and I'm not looking for tight ends or receivers with bad quarterbacks and tough matchups. I'm going with running backs as an option just to show you. I like Tyler Warren. He's been a starter for me, but with this particular matchup and some of the other options out there as a flex, he doesn't quite make the cut this week for me.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so we pulled out Alec Pierce. Let's go to our next game. So we're spending a little time on here. Now, this one I know you want to talk about a little bit. We got the New Orleans Saints heading down to Miami. According to how I wrote it here, the Miami Colts. Nope, the Miami Dolphins are playing at Sunday at 1 o'clock. The over-under is very low at 41.5 points. I'm not sure of any weather here. I'm in Orlando. It's cold today. It's supposed to be hot tomorrow, so I'm not sure about that. Miami's favored by 5.5. That seems dangerous to have Miami favored by anything more than 2.5 points. But what do you have on this game? How do you think it's going to go? Who's going to win and or cover?
This can be a blowout. This can be a Miami Dolphin blowout.
All
this
right.
can be 24-13 Miami.
All right. Well, I have it as Miami covering and winning as well. I think they've got the playoffs they're gonna be knocked out this week, or they're gonna keep their hopes alive and be in the hunt for another week. As some of those teams like Baltimore already lost, some other teams like that are kind of coming back down to the pack. So they could be close to a playoff spot with 2 more wins, and they've got an easy schedule on paper for the next couple of weeks. Can Miami stay in the hunt and not be stay on that placard on the right side of the screen when they talk about these playoff races here? We'll see. I don't trust them either, but nonetheless, they're at home. A good matchup, in my opinion, here. So I agree. I have Miami winning and or covering. The good thing about this, there's not a lot to talk about in terms of the players. Miami, the only one, Achane's in, Waddle's in. Tua, are you looking to play Tua? You have a blowout here. What do you think about Tua as an option?
I think you can start Tua in this game. I really do.
Where do you have Tua compared to CJ Stroud, your start of the week? I'm not saying you're going to make the other guy start of the week. I'm just saying confidence-wise here.
Ooh, I'm probably more confident in CJ Stroud. It's tough to say. They're pretty.
I'm more about ranges. I'm just trying to get ranges here more than anything else. Yeah.
Yeah. I got CJ Stroud ahead of Tua. I think that's a fair assumption. Not by much, but ahead of him.
So do you have Tua ahead of Purdy then, right? Just that's kind of like our last guy here as a starter that you won't start.
I think they're the same. I think they're interchangeable. I think you could start Purdy or Tua and be happy.
Okay, all right. Jalen Waddle, I think, is an automatic start. I don't know if I said that. What about Darren Waller if he's active? Of course, he played well for you on your team while he had those couple touchdown games. Are you looking to go back into the Waller world, or is he just going to want to wait and see?
Nope, Jalen Waddle. That's it. No other pass catchers are going to be fantasy relevant for me.
All right,
because I think HN is going to take care of the touchdowns.
Yeah, he's been everything.
Secondary pass catcher would do. Yeah,
he's literally been everything for them. All right, on the other side of the ball here, Tyler Shuck only had one decent game, if you want to be generous, but he's really not in terms of fantasy. Hasn't been doing too much here. What do you think about Tyler Shuck? Why are we even talking about him? We're not playing him, are we? No one should play him, right?
Nope.
I guess my question is here: would you play Shuck over Mayfield if you were really afraid of Mayfield being hurt?
No, Mayfield for 3 quarters would pull up more fantasy points than a whole game of Shuck.
That's exactly how I wanted you to phrase it. That's perfect. Yeah, exactly. That's when it comes down. I'd rather 4 quarters of Cam Ward than 2 quarters of Mayfield. For example, it's just the ratio. This one, I think you're right. 2 quarters of Mayfield can do as much as 4 quarters of Shuck here, if not more. Right.
Exactly.
So we have Devin Neal making his first start. He's been on the field the last 3 or 4 or 5 weeks with the apps. Once Kendra Miller was out, hasn't done too much. I don't watch a lot of Saints games, to be honest with you, so I'm going by what I've been hearing, and I don't know if people are just excited about it. Some people get their rose-colored glasses. Oh, a new running back. Let's talk him up. But they're really not that good. Have you seen Neal? He hasn't put up any stats. I don't know if it's just one of those things. The stats aren't coming, but there's things to look for that are promising. I'm not putting in my lineup this week, even though I have him, and he was my high-price acquisition. I want to see it first, being that I have other options that I'm willing to go with here. What's your thoughts on Neal? Have you seen him play at all?
I actually haven't seen a full, series of Neal playing, just here and there, and it looks good. It doesn't look bad. I would play him ahead of, let's say, Judkins. I would play ETN ahead of him.
Okay.
So it's kind of in that range, though.
Well, then asking for a friend here, would you play Neal over Vidal or PJ Harvey here?
No, I think RJ Harvey, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. RJ Harvey and Konami Vidal are both starting over Neal.
Okay, that's what I have too. Just wanted to double check your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
All right, so we have Chris Olave is probably really our only pass catcher here of note. He's, like I said, he had the back spasms. If he's active, you play him. Although, like I said, these are one of those injuries. It's not debilitating in that, but he can tighten up at any time. That's what they are, spasms. You never know when they're going to hit. But like I said, we see with basketball players, they get dressed and they go out and they run the court once or twice. They're like, nope, I can't go. So I'd be a little worried about that. Assuming he was healthy enough to play the whole game, if you knew that, regardless of his percentage of health, but you knew the duration of health was going to be a whole game. What's your thought on Chris Olave in this matchup?
Yeah, I'm high on Chris Olave if he's healthy and he's good to go. I think he's possibly finishes a top 10 receiver.
Oh wow! So okay, all right, very good. All right, is Taysom Hill going to vulture a touchdown this week? I think the answer. I give a 50-50. That's pretty high. I think 50-50 is pretty high ranking, and I would go with the yes on the 50 side.
Yeah, I would say there's a good chance. I don't know if I'd go 50-50, but he's not getting any yardage. He's just taking points away from other players.
Right. Exactly. All right. Before I leave here, there's nothing in this game. I don't want to pull anybody out in this conversation here. I think maybe, yeah, Devin Neal again. He's a startable player this time of year. If you need a running back, he's out there. But like how I mentioned, I've got those same tier guys. Your free agent waiver wire pickups. He's not the top of those guys, but he's in the top group of those guys. He's just not the top of that top group. Let's put it that way. Like I'd put Neal over Rachad White. Maybe even Bucky Irving, to be honest with you, to see, but I wouldn't put him ahead of those guys are going to get 80% of the carries, for example.
Yeah, I agree with that.
What do you think about the defenses here? I picked up Miami as a streaming defense this week at the last minute. What do you think about New Orleans or Miami, as both these teams have a potential to get into some sack trouble and or turnovers?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't pick up New Orleans defense. I'd just keep them on the waiver wire. Miami's defense, maybe. But again, it's one of those things like there's got to be a better option if you're in a 12-team league to get a different defense than Miami. There's no reason to play them. But you could. I mean, is Shuck going to throw the ball? You're only getting for our league, you're only getting a quarter point for a fourth down stop. So, I mean, is that really what you're going to get? You're going to get a couple sacks. I don't think there's going to be any turnovers or anything like that.
I'm praying for Malik Washington return punt touchdown.
There you go. And I don't really know too much about New Orleans special teams when it comes to that aspect of it. I don't think that they can't be as bad as their offense. So
okay. All right. Our next game here is the Atlanta Falcons versus the New York Jets. The Falcons are really so promising, are really a dumpster fire at this point against the New York Jets at 1:00, who've been kind of plucky the last few weeks here. The over-under is under 40 at 39.5 points. Atlanta is a road favorite at -2.5. How do you see this game going? Who do you think is going to win or cover?
Ooh, I think that 2.5 is really enticing. Falcons 20, New York Jets 17.
I'm just on upset watch all week. I got about 80% upsets. I'm going with the Jets. I'm not going for these road favorite teams, especially when they're not that good. I'm going with the home teams here. Jets to cover and get a win this week. I'm expecting a Kirk Cousins implosion. One of those, he goes to throw the ball, and the ball's out of his hand, empty behind his head. One of those things where he just drops the ball a couple times. So I'm actually going with the Jets to win this game. I'm not picking a score here. It's not my jam, but nonetheless, I'm going with it winning here. Is Cousins worth playing here? He's going to be the starter this week.
Yeah, it's the Jets. They lost Sauce Gardner. They lost the other guy. Their lineman, I can't think of his name. It's off the top of my head.
Is that the Quinnen Williams? Was that the one?
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say yeah. The Jets are bad. Yeah. I'm just trying to think about it. Like the Falcons are also bad.
Right.
But the Jets are bad too. The Jets might be. Tennessee is on the up and the Jets are on the down. Let's just say that.
So I would say both these quarterbacks you're not looking to play. We got Tyrod Taylor and Kirk Cousins. They're both backups. They're both old journeymen, however you want to look at it here. So with the bye weeks here, the only way I would consider this is if you find out the last minute that Baker Mayfield's inactive. I would take 2 quarters of Mayfield over 4 quarters of these guys right now, or at least give around that range. They're pretty close, and they have a chance to get 4 quarters of Mayfield. I would take that chance. Let's put it that way.
I'm not that low. I'm not that low on Kirk.
Okay.
I mean, he doesn't look good, but there's always that possibility.
Well, he's going to be without Drake London once again. So I think the only receiver you can play here on either side of the ball, really. Well, Darnell Mooney finally showed up last week. So would you go with Darnell Mooney once again? Would you put him in there, being that Drake London's out as an end flex? Obviously not a wide receiver 2, less than that.
Yeah. I mean, I actually put him and Kyle Pitts right at the same level as far as receivers go. I think if you had either one of them, that you're putting them in at the same level of thought. So the third, fourth option.
Is Mooney clearly ahead of Jennings this week?
Yeah. For me, yes.
Okay. All right. That's fine. I'll take it. He did good last
For
week.
for the general public, probably not.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, our running backs here, Bijan Robinson, no questions here. Brees
Yeah.
Hall's been getting all the work. Again, it's just the offense isn't prolific here. But if he didn't have that fumble at the 1 yard line after a 40-yard catch you mentioned last week, he would have had a huge game last week. He's actually playing pretty well. It's just, again, they're not really moving the ball. But I will say last week, Tyrod Taylor had a lot more screen passes. I'm not saying like 12, but I mean like 5. And they were bunched together, and they were all like 12 to 40-yard plays there in that one drive especially. So I like that for Brees Hall. I think Brees Hall is a must start at this point in the season. The only receivers for New York Jets, Mechie. Adonai Mitchell really making a lot of mistakes still. He's got such potential, but he looks even more spaced out with the Jets than he did with the Colts. And Mechie's really taking advantage of the guy who's been the most reliable receiver, not in terms of fantasy, but in terms of the Jets, Tyrod Taylor, who they're looking for. He's had a touchdown the last 2 games. But neither of those guys should be in anyone's lineup here. So I don't think any receivers in this game except for Mooney, and even then, only if you're burning play 2 flexes is in your lineup this week, to be honest with you. So There's not a lot to talk about. Just the 2 running backs and only the quarterbacks if you're desperate, and only Mooney if you're desperate. I'm not going to say desperate, but desperate. What do you think about the kickers or defenses on this team? They're not worth playing either, I don't think.
No, I said it earlier. They're playing at Jet Life Stadium there,
Yep.
so that turf, like Kirk Cousins might go down with an injury. We never know. That stadium takes people. So
This is one of those games that both teams are so bad. This could be a 10-9 game, or it could be a 40-36 game because you don't know which way it's going to go.
I think the Falcons defense is much better. I think you were spot on with the Jets offense. Brees Hall's the only one to play. I think the Falcons defense is stout.
Okay.
Well, is more stout than we're going to give him credit for in this particular game.
Fair enough. All right, guys. So not a lot to talk about this one. We're avoiding everyone but the running backs, but you can play Mooney if you need a flex. Our next game here is Arizona going across the country to Tampa Bay, and that's the reason why I don't like this one for Arizona. Another 1 o'clock start, so an early start for a West Coastish team. The over-under is 44.5. Tampa Bay is favored by 3.5. What do you have on this one, Bertie?
So I've got a surprise for you, Mike. I got the Bucks 24, Cardinals 20.
I do too. I got the Tampa Bay Bucks winning and covering here. I think they're going to lean on the running game this time. And with the 3 healthy backs, I don't know if any one back is going to be worth playing, but the combination of all 3 is going to they're going to try and control the game and get it out of Baker Mayfield's arm. I don't like any receivers this week for the Tampa Bay Bucks, even though they are great. They're good. Abuka and Godwin getting some rust off here. I like them, but not because of Mayfield's injury. I'm really afraid of that injury, but I'm not afraid of Tampa Bay. They're a well-coached, good team, and Arizona finds ways to lose, even when they do play well, and they're not guaranteed to play well. I could see Jakobi Brissett finally. It's been 7 games, guys. He's been awesome. This is his letdown game, guys. Across the country, 1 o'clock against a good defensive line. He's going to get sacked a ton. He's going to freak out. He's going to fall back down to earth. This is a game that I think Tampa Bay is going to win.
Yeah. I think you could start either Baker or Jakobi and be happy at that same level. And I think Abuka will be fine. I think he's going to have a decent game.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'm personally afraid of his shoulder, but I think he can still manage the game and maybe do like 1 or 2. Something like Abuka only needs 3 catches if they're the right type of plays. So I think he's not going to be a high volume guy this week, but he might be an effective play action guy this week if they really lean on the run to set up the stage.
Exactly. It all becomes risky though when Bridgewater has to, or it will start. So it's bad.
So both these games have running back rooms that are full, and not full, but I mean, like, there's not a dominant player going to get 80% of the carries. There's going to be some sort of 40-40-20 split, or I'm sorry, 35-35, 30 split for the Tampa Bay. And on the other side is going to be a 50-50 split between Carter and Bam Knight if he goes. So none of these guys I'm really looking at playing. How would you rank the Tampa Bay running backs? This one's really interesting. Are you going to go with the guy who's coming off an injury, or are you going to go with the guys who've been playing the best as of late? Which way are you looking at this one?
Well, I think I have it as Irving, Tucker, and then White. But I could be convinced to switch it.
Like you said, it's gonna be that hot. It's gonna be the hot hand. So it all depends on who gets that first couple. I think last week was an awful game for Tampa, but I thought Tucker still looked like the better back in terms of just getting what was there and then falling forward for a couple yards here. But I think
I could say the only thing I'm sure about there would be that White would be number 3 on that list.
See, I think he's actually going to be better because Bucky
as a runner or just as a offensive scrimmage yards.
Scrimmage yards, not as a running.
Yeah.
He's going to get more checkdowns with Baker being banged up, I think, and I think Irving and Tucker are going to cannibalize each other's opportunities because they're kind of fighting for that first and second down, if you will. And I think White's going to stay. I think White's going to get that third down role the whole game, and I think this is going to be one of those games where that type of player is going to be more effective this game, I think.
Yeah. Here's the issue I have with that, though, is that who's going to be in the game towards the end of the game when they're not subbing people out? Because this is what happens in Seattle with Charbonnet sometimes.
Okay.
Charbonnet just ends up starting with the first down, and then they're not subbing any players, so he just stays in.
Gotcha.
And I think that might have an issue with White, and I think Tucker might be the guy that's in if Irving is not doing good in the beginning of the game.
That's crazy. We just see this differently. I think that particular scenario you painted would hurt Bucky Irving more since he's not as in the practice routine as the other guys.
No. I agree. It hurts Bucky Irving more. I think it's Trey Tucker that will benefit if Bucky Irving doesn't start off hot.
Sean Tucker's going to be the guy. Yeah.
Towards the end of the game, and I think that's where it's going to be such a close game that's where they're just going to be either hurry up offense, 2-minute drills, and whoever's in is going to just stay in.
All right, just because all these games, we're getting ahead of time here. So Trey McBride's automatic start. What do you think about Marvin Harrison? If he plays, is he back in your lineup? He probably should be, but he's kind of he's questionable all the time.
Yeah, I think against Buccaneers defense, I think you can put him in. I think he'll be okay there.
All right, we're gonna move on along here just because, like I said, we got a ton of games here. LA Rams at the Carolina Panthers. Rams are 45-point over/under, 10.5-point spread in favor of the Rams here. Oh my gosh, what do you have on this game?
MVP. Rams 31, Panthers 17. The 38-year-old is playing like he's 28.
That number's too big. I got Carolina covering, but I do have the Rams winning. They're going across the country. 1:00 game for a West Coast team. That just takes off some bit of luster and polish here. So, but they're the superior team. They're going to find a way. If Carolina can go back to just feeding Rico Dowdle, this might be a surprise. But they haven't shown that they're willing to do that lately for whatever reason. Bryce Young had one good game. They're like, there he is. We fixed him. Give it to him again. Nope, he can't do it, guys. I'm sorry. So this one we have our favorite guys. Kyron Williams is a start. Matthew Stafford is a start. Devontae Adams, our touchdown leader, is a start. Puka Nacua, the best receiver in the league, is also a start. No tight ends to notice here, I don't think. No secondary running backs or receivers on the LA side. Panthers, not playing Bryce Young, that's for sure. You should play Rico Dowdle. You can always correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just kind of going through quick. Play Rico Dowdle. Tedero is an uncomfortable start, but at this point, you're starting him every week and just whatever he gets. And I think that's it on that side. I don't think there's anyone else here to start. Both kickers are okay. Both defenses are, I think the Rams defense is better, but again, a long road travel is not really good for that type of defense. So I'm not really looking to play either defense. Anything else that I said that you want to add or something to correct me on, if you will?
Yeah. So the only thing that you're probably going to be, the game's going to be so out of hand. The Panthers secondary, they're missing a couple of their players. Trayvon Moehrig is suspended one game, and cornerback J.C. Horn is in the concussion protocol.
Okay, fair enough. Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, this one's easy. We've got the same 5 or 6 guys we play every week, and everyone else we do not touch at all, including Bryce Young. Do not touch Bryce Young this week. All right.
Yep.
This one's a little interesting, a little bit of a revenge game as we have the Minnesota Vikings. We finally get to our 4:00 slate here. Minnesota Vikings at the Seattle Seahawks. Sam Darnold up against his old team last year where we went 14-2, if I'm not mistaken. The over-under is low at 41. Is that right? And Seattle is favored at 11.5. All right, so we have an over-under 41 and an 11.5-point spread. I think this game's going to be like 28 to 12 or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I think. 27-13.
Okay, all right. I have Minnesota covering and winning this game in an upset. Max Brosmer, the unknown, is going to come out of nowhere and get Justin Jefferson going. A big game for Jefferson, 180 yards and a score. Yes.
Oh, you don't have a hot take drop on that keyboard, do you?
I'm going to get one. I'm working on it.
No.
Here, let's
I
put it this way.
disagree.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it
There
pays
you
off
go.
for him.
Yeah. No. Jackson Smith and Jigba, what's his name? Sam Darnold, and Kenneth Walker. Those are your 3 starts. Just run with it. Nobody else needs to be started in this game. You're going to start Justin Jefferson, but that's it.
No Kenneth Walker? Not
No,
I mean Charbonnet. No Charbonnet. I apologize. No Charbonnet.
No, I can't start Charbonnet unless it's a full-on Kenneth Walker is not playing.
Okay. All right. I would not put Brosmer in, but that would be the best glory play of all time if you could win your matchup this week with Max Brosmer as your starting quarterback. That'd be awesome. Yeah, that's gonna be a fun game to watch. See if Darnold.
I got one for you. Hold on.
Yeah.
Brosmer or Kirk Cousins?
I'm going with. I know this. That's the whole thing. We know what McCarthy is in that team. We know what Kirk Cousins is. I want to go with the mystery box, dude. What's in the box? What's in the box? I'm going with Max Brosmer, man.
Don't open the box.
All right, we're gonna move along here. We're going with the guys we have to because of draft capital and all of the Seattle Seahawks you can get into this game. It seems like to me.
Yeah.
All right. Seattle defense, like you said, Brosmer's either going to be amazing or he's going to be literally crapping his pants. I would take that chance with the Seattle defense. They've been pretty good all year long.
Yeah, Seattle's been good, yes.
All right, we got the Buffalo Bills at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Is that right? At Pittsburgh? I guess so, yeah. I shouldn't have played. I should have played Boswell this week. 425 start, 46.5, a pretty big number here, considering this potentially has some weather. I didn't write this one down, but just saying that same region of the Cleveland game, kind of, an afternoon Sunday game. Buffalo's favored by 3 on the road. What do you have on this one?
I've got the Bills 27, Steelers 20.
All right, I'm with you again. I got Buffalo covering and winning this game as well. I have no faith in either of these teams right now, but if you're not going to have faith, I'd rather have a complete unfaith in Aaron Rodgers as opposed to Josh Allen. Josh Allen's going to get the benefit of the doubt when it comes to this kind of stuff, as we've seen him put games on his back even when the rest of his team's not doing well here. There's always a chance he can do that. Here, players, we are playing Josh Allen. We're playing James Cook. I think we're avoiding all receivers for Buffalo unless Dalton Kincaid play. I didn't double check his news. I would doubt he's playing, to be honest with you. Don't hold me to that. Kincaid would be the only receiving option you could consider, and only in a tight end or second or third flex. Otherwise, we're not playing any pass catchers in Buffalo. Again, correct me, Bernie, if I'm wrong here. And then on Steelers here, I wouldn't play Rodgers in this matchup personally, but he's going to be your 12 to 16 range quarterback, depending on your favorites due to weather here. You could play either Jaylen Warren or Kenneth Gainwell, as the Buffalo is not really a very good rush defense here, and both these guys have been productive overall here. And then DK Metcalf is really a low ceiling wide receiver 2, if you will, but he is the main guy on the field. Anything else you want to mention here between the offensive players? And you can go right into our defenses and kickers if you'd like.
Yes. So I would say that defenses and kickers are probably the best starts in this game as far as defenses and kickers go. I think at least one of the scores on either team is going to be from a special teams play or a defensive play. Josh Allen is not going to hit his ceiling in this game. This might be a floor game for Josh Allen. Just be wary. He's missing 2 of his offensive tackles.
Okay.
Who have we got? Spencer Brown and Deion Dawkins. Spencer Brown with the shoulder, Deion Dawkins with a concussion. They're both ruled out on Friday. So Pittsburgh defense is going to get some sacks, and they might get a turnover.
I appreciate you bringing the lineman news. I appreciate that quite a bit, honestly. So thank you for that. Thanks for setting the whole stage here and the whole palette of this game. All right. So any offensive players that you want to mention that I went through real quick, or anyone else that I missed? Calvin
No,
Austin,
I mean I think you nailed it. Cook, Allen, and then nobody on the other side.
Warren and Gainwell, they're not both.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, Warren and Gainwell. Warren and Gainwell. Yes.
Who honestly, Gainwell's been outperforming Warren the last 2 weeks. How would you rank those 2 guys straight up right now?
I would probably put. Really
it's
even
weird because Warren gets the work in between like the 30s, not even the 20s, like the 30s or 40s, and he comes out for a breath and they do a screen pass to Gainwell, who does a 30-yard play down the sideline.
Yeah, I would probably still stick with Warren, honestly.
Okay, I don't disagree. Just was curious what your thoughts are there.
Yeah.
All right, our next game, another 425 start. The Las Vegas Raiders at the LA Chargers. This one's the opposite of all my other picks, Bernie. A low over-under again at 41. LA Chargers are favored by a whopping 10. How do you think that this game is going to go?
I think it'll be by 14. Chargers 24, Raiders 10.
Except for a couple early games here, we're getting on the same page. I usually don't go with teams that cover the big number, but I'm going with the Chargers to take this one all the way. This is going to be, we have Chip Kelly's gone, which might be a boost for the Raiders, but I doubt it. Chargers are coming off a bye week where they had one of their worst games against Jacksonville the prior week, so they have the motivation to get things right, the rest and recovery to get things right. They're going to come out of this one ready to go, and they're going to put it on the division rivals. I think the Chargers are going to blow them out here. All right, what are some of our options here? We've got Justin Herbert, been a little up and down, but overall has been a good quarterback in terms of total points. I think he's on automatic start this week against the Raiders. Geno Smith, you're trying to avoid him. What do you think about Geno Smith? He's been okay the last couple weeks, but it's Geno Smith.
No, Geno Smith, he's been sacked like 41 times, second in the NFL. So it's just really tough. Chip Kelly was fired in week 12, so it's a rough going for that offense. So there's really Ashton Genty is the bright spot. Brock Bowers isn't the bright spot. So Geno Smith doesn't really have anything going for him at all.
Yep. Yeah, he leads the league in interceptions and one of the top in taking sacks. So it's this one, honestly, LA Chargers defense is going to be one of your tops if you were able to stream them. They're one you could pay for here. This is one of the only defenses I'm really talking about in this game, in this rundown here, as that looks like a pretty good combination of factors here to go for a defense. A home team against a team that gives up the most sacks and interceptions seems like a pretty much a no-brainer to me. The offensive side of the Chargers, we mentioned Herbert. I think Vidal is, after that, getting a rest here. I think he's an automatic start this week, guy. I think I don't know what range you want to put him in. RB2, just to be fair. I think he's like a 14 running back this week, give or take. You can tell me otherwise. I think he's an automatic start. Lad McConkey's an automatic start. Quentin Johnson's getting too many gooses. You could put him in as a risk play here, a boom bust. Keenan Allen, maybe the rest did him good. It's hard to say. I think if he's going to have a good week, this is it for Keenan Allen. Playing a familiar opponent, as he's been in this division for quite a long time, even with his last year out of it. And getting the rest this week might be just enough of a recharge for one or two good games, and this might be it. Our Rondé Gatson, I guess, would be the other guy here as well. You mentioned Brock Bowers. So all these guys are not automatic starts, especially in the receiving game. Would you rank those Charger receivers, Gatson, Allen, McConkey, and Quentin?
I would go McConkey, and then Gadsden on that, and then the other two just about the same.
They average the same points. One guy's going to get you 6 to 8. The other guy's going to get you 2 to 20.
Exactly.
So it depends on what you need. Being this is a 4:00 game, if you can wait and you're like, I'm down by 30 points, go with Quentin. If you're up by 4 and you want to hold on, put in a Keenan Allen, I would say.
Keenan Allen. He's going to retire as a Charger. It'll be done.
Yep, I agree. Is Brock Bowers, is he back in your lineup as a flex? Obviously in tight end leagues he is. Is he back in as a flex, or we staying away from this Raiders offense?
Yeah, Ashton Genty is the only player that's even considered in any Raiders game at this point. Unless this new offensive coordinator does something different. I don't know who they named, or if Pete Carroll is going to call the plays.
It was someone I heard the story. It was someone I think who was their offensive coordinator like from 2018 to 2020. He's been an offense. He's like their very inexpensive offensive coordinator who does like 2 years at a time until they find a name that they like. He's just on their Rolodex. He's like, oh, bring Tim back in.
Yeah. So no, I'm not starting anybody. Ashton Genty is the only bright spot there.
All right, fair enough. Now to our primetime games here. We've got the Denver Broncos at the Washington Commanders Sunday at 8:20 p.m. Over-unders at 43.5. Denver is a road favorite at 1.5 here. How do you think this game's going to go?
Denver's going to dominate this game. 27-13.
I kind of agree, except that Denver always only wins by a point at the end of the game. So I actually have Washington cover even this 1.5 points because I think it's going to be in between that 1 to 3 point range at the most kind of thing. Just by the way Denver plays, so it's like I'm just going to go with the trend there more so than what I think who's the better team here. But I do have Denver finding a way to win this game on the road. Denver should be back to mostly full strength. I don't know if Singleton or Singletary, the linebacker. I think it's Singletary. Could be Singleton. He missed the last game or two. I don't know. Because he's the one who had the testicular cancer that they found early. But I think he's they said he wasn't going to be out very long. I
Okay.
know that's kind of a side thing. I don't have the information in front of me, but they had one of their better players was out their last game, but I think it's a short-term injury. I'm not sure if he's coming back this week or not. Nonetheless, their defense with Patrick Surtain is getting back on track here.
Mhm.
Mariota, like I said, he's good enough for him, not good enough for the team. You could play him in a pinch. Bo Nix, although the team wins, what do you think? All right, we got to talk about Bo Nix. What's your confidence level on starting him? Would you put him ahead of CJ Stroud, for example, since we have those type of players?
Uh, Bo Nix ahead of CJ Stroud.
The
Yeah,
matchup is, I mean, the matchup makes you
the
want to play him
matchup
as
is
much as
there.
always, anytime.
Exactly. I think Bo Nix could. Yeah, I'd put Bo Nix ahead of CJ Stroud. I think
Okay.
Bo Nix could be a top 10 quarterback finish this week. He's thrown a lot of. He's got 18 or something, 18 touchdowns, I think here. Through 11 games and almost 2,500 yards. So I think he's shown that he can do it. I think their fourth quarter percentage or their fourth quarter like rate of coming back is pretty high. So I'm okay with Knicks.
When I was first going through my starts of the week, I had a combination of Cortland Sutton or Troy Franklin in that. So I do agree.
Hmm.
I like the potential here in the passing game for the Broncos. So I think
Hmm.
Bo Nix is a startable player. He's just too volatile to be confident about no matter what. So he's probably going to
Hmm.
be in that 9 to 12 range just because of the volatility, but his ceiling is as good as anybody in the league. We've seen him get 30 points already this year once. So he has a ceiling of 3 to 5. Volatility though is lower, so he's been that 9 to 12 range just because of that. Running backs, RJ Harvey, is this the game? He got the start last time. He didn't do too much with it, but it was a game that they kind of got dominated there. What do we think about RJ Harvey's outlook this week? A lot of people are going to put him in there and hoping for the best.
Yeah, I think RJ Harvey has got a good start. I think he's a high end RB2 for this game. He's in the neighborhood with Chase Brown, who's already played, with Kenneth Walker, in that area. Travion Henderson, he's in that area.
Okay, all right. We got our receivers here. I'm not going to add Mims. He's always had a chance, but he's more of their I don't want to say gadget guy, but he's their end around guy. He's their punt returner specialist. He's really good. He's a really good part of the team. But in terms of offense, it really is down to Troy Franklin and Cortland Sutton. We kind of
Yep.
mentioned how we think this game might go, or I think both those guys are probably in play and probably in your lineup. What's your confidence level on either of those two receivers?
Yeah, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. I think they're both in play this game.
I don't disagree. If you're, I know we have a manager in our league who's played Troy Franklin in multiple starts because he's been streaming players. I don't know if he's putting him this week, but
Oh, he is. I'm playing against him. He
okay,
is.
yep. So I'm just it shows you we have a manager. I don't say has a confidence, but has played him more than once, and this is not a game he's afraid of, being that he's already used that player before. So
Yep.
yeah, we like the passing game here. We actually like the offense altogether for Denver. I just don't trust them in terms of game script the way they play it at the outset here. I think McLaurin coming back actually helps Deebo Samuel this week more than other weeks because, like you said, he may be taking the attention of Patrick Surtain, leaving Deebo Samuel a little more of the more open part of the field here. I don't think Deebo's been great this year. He scores touchdowns 2 out of every 4, like half the time, but he gets like 70 yards and a touchdown, or he gets 60 yards and nothing. So it all depends on whether he scores a lot here, scores or not. How would you rank McLaurin or Deebo? Let's just go with those guys because I think they're both fringe players at this point.
No, I think your reasoning is sound. I think McLaurin is the better receiver, but I think in this game with Patrick Surtain back, that Debo might be the play out
Yeah,
of the two.
and I already mentioned I'm sitting I'm sitting McLaurin behind RJ Harvey and Vidal. I mean, not McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, just to show you as he's like a flex range kind of guy. So of those two guys, McLaurin and Deebo, I agree. I think Deebo is better this week, not overall. And honestly, they don't crack it if you've got one of those rookie running backs getting an opportunity this time. I think go with the backs, especially later in the colder weather here. Let those running backs get the short yardage touchdowns. Um, you know what I just realized in
What's
that
that?
game there? Oh, that's the Commander side. Never mind. All right, so let's get to the Commander side here real quick. We did a little bit. What about the running backs? We have Chris Rodriguez has scored touchdowns in 3 of the last 4 games, but not a big time yardage breaker. Krosky Merritt's been pretty miserable since that one breakout game. Are we even touching the running game for the Commanders?
Absolutely not.
I don't disagree. So I think we're looking at almost every offensive player of worth here. We got Bo Nix,
Mhm.
Harvey, both receivers, and Franklin and Sutton we can play. You could play either McLaurin or Debo as a flex, but there are better options out there. So we're not looking to play anybody on the Commander side of this ball, like, unless you need to play. Such a bad matchup for even Mariota this week. I think you can sit all Commanders this week.
Yeah, I would agree. They're going to get 13 points. I don't know how they're going to get them, but they're going to get them. Commander's kicker? Who's that?
I didn't shoot. You put me on the spot. I knew it. Now I don't. Because they cut
That guy.
Matt Gay earlier, so I don't know who it is anymore. Okay.
No, that's fine. That's
All right,
fine.
our last game is the New York Giants against the New England Patriots here. Oh my gosh, I'm going to stun you on this one. Monday, 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. The over-under is a decently high one, especially for the winter weather here, or the late fall rather. 46.5 points. New England is a home favorite at 7.5. What do you have on this one?
They just missed that over. They're 28-17 Patriots.
All right, so you got Patriots covering this thing all the way. I'm going with the upset, guys. Jackson Dart is back. I'm going with the Giants. Going to defeat. I think the Patriots have been slowing down and beating some bad teams lately, barely. I think they're running on fumes here. They haven't had their bye week yet. Their bye week is next week. I think they're going to be looking past this opponent and towards their bye. And this is a trap game. It's a trap game.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
I'm going with the Giants to win and cover like the Super Bowl in 20, whatever year that was, 2007. This one's going to be an upset here. What do you have on the players here? The New York Giants. Are you playing Jackson Dart? This guy scores 20 points or more in every single game he's started this year.
Yeah, I can play Jackson Dart in this game. I can play. Yeah.
Tyrone Tracey, you mentioned as a start of the week. Even though it's a tough matchup, Tyrone Tracey has been actually pretty darn good the last 3 weeks.
Yep, I'm starting Tyrone Tracey, and my issue is the receiving core. I don't know if I can start Slayton or Robinson. I think it goes back and forth, and you just don't know who is going to get it. It's risky.
I forget
Somebody's going to get it, but you don't know who it is.
Right. Slayton's actually, we've been kind of waiting for him the last couple of weeks to break back out. Of course, he's come off an injury a little bit, but it's been Wan'Dale Robinson's been awesome. I forget the stat, but he's got more yards than like Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown, like a bunch of good guys who have not missed time. So it's not because of injuries. Like, he's way higher than you think because he's quietly, getting these 80 yards and a touchdown every game, it seems like. So Wan'Dale Robinson is actually, I don't know if I could do it because I'm not a Giants fan where I'm watching them all the time where I'm like, oh yeah, he's doing good. But in terms of stats and consistency, Wan'Dale Robinson's been really, really good this year, especially the last month and a half. So I think he's if you know what you're doing, he should be in your lineup. If you're just a casual fan, it's pretty hard to do it. One of our managers last week, Fantastic, had him in his lineup, scored 26 points for him in a big game last week. So I mean, I think he should be in your lineup. It's just the name that scares you more than anything else. So I would say you're playing Dart, playing Tracy, you're playing Wan'Dale, you're hopeful for Darius, but you really shouldn't play him. And that's probably about it on the offensive side. What about Devin Singletary, who's been sneakily getting half the work there as well, but just not as productive when he's not scoring touchdowns?
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's too risky to wait for the yards and the touchdown. So I would say no on Devin Singletary, but it could be the game where he has 25, 26 points. But I would still say no.
Yep. On the other side of the ball here, we got Drake May, who's been slowing down, but nonetheless, this guy with the combination of he throws he gets 290 yards every game, and he's slowing down. He had 2 touchdowns every game until 2 weeks ago, and now he's had back-to-back weeks with only 1 touchdown passing. That is, I was actually surprised last week they were getting stuffed on the run by Cincinnati. Cincinnati stuffed Drake May at the 1-yard line. They stuffed Ramondre Stevenson 3 times inside the 5-yard line. And they stopped Henderson, I think, once inside the 5. Oh, and I don't know if it was Henderson. Terrell Jennings got stopped inside the 3-yard line. So I don't know I can't imagine Cincinnati's turning around, although they looked a lot better this past Thursday night as well. I don't know if it's a Cincinnati turning things around or if the Patriots are wearing down. But we did see that even though Henderson got more work than any other running back, Ramondre Stevenson was on the field a significant amount to dent into that workload here. So what's your thoughts on the running backs here now that we have 3 running backs again with Terrell Jennings, Ramondre Stevenson, and Travion Henderson? Are you trusting Henderson? He kind of lets us down when he is not the main man.
Yeah, I'm not trusting him. I'm the only person I'm trusting here is Drake May and his receivers. That's it.
You mentioned the receivers. You got Stefon Diggs. You got Kayshon Boutte, Demario Douglas. I think those are the 3. Got Mac Hollins. I think you'll have to mention Mac Hollins too. At least mention them. So, what do you have on those guys? How would you rank them, and how many are you willing to play?
I'm willing to play 2 of them. I'm gonna play Diggs. I think Diggs is gonna be in my start of the week here. Um, and I'm not sure about the other one though. I'm not sure if I should put Booty in. Um, I yeah, I'm gonna say Diggs and I'm gonna say Booty. Those are my two plays. I think you got two good um receiving fantasy players in this game here.
I'll open up a little bit wider here. Let's put all 4 receivers from both teams here. So you got Diggs and Booty, and then Wandale and Darius. How would you rank those 4 guys?
Hmm. I would probably put Wandale ahead of them, and then Diggs, then Booty,
Okay.
then Slayton.
I'm about that same range. I could be convinced either way between Diggs and Wandale, but I definitely have Booty third of that group,
Yeah.
and then Darius last.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys, we went through a lot of games because we didn't get. I was hoping to go through half the games on the last show, and because it was so late, I went through 4 of the 16. There's no buys this week. We're gonna try and go through all the games. I'm gonna try and split them up, half on the waiver wire show, half on our preview show. So this show is gonna be a little bit longer, but we're gonna try and get these down to an hour and 10 minutes at the most. We failed this time, but just know this is one of the longest amount of games we're gonna go through ever in our history here. So with that being said, Bernie, if you've got any juice left in you, it's time for a 4th and long. You ready?
Let's do it.
First down, the game's over. Go for it.
This measurement could determine the Giants'
It is
season.
time for 4th and long.
With Bernie.
All right, fantasy footballers. Let's get into this 4th and long here. Let me move some things around. Let me get my papers ready. Okay, it's Thanksgiving week in the NFL, which means we're supposed to reflect on gratitude, count our blessings, be thankful for what we have. So let's do that. Let's go division by division and figure out what each one is actually grateful for this year. Not the stuff they say in press conferences, the real stuff, the stuff that keeps them from being completely miserable. Let's start with the AFC. The AFC East is thankful for Drake May not being a figment of their imagination. The Patriots are 10-2. They've won 9 straight games, and it's all because they drafted a franchise quarterback, and he just worked immediately. In his second year, no drama, no learning curve, no, let's give him 3 years to develop. Apparently, you can draft a guy and have it work out. Who knew? The AFC North is thankful for Joe Burrow's toe healing just in time to beat the Ravens on Thanksgiving. Bengals 27, Ravens 20. Burrow missed 3 weeks with a toe injury, comes back, beats Lamar Jackson on national television while everyone's eating pie. Because nothing says grateful like watching the 2-time MVP lose to a guy who couldn't walk 2 weeks ago. The AFC South is thankful for the Giants cutting Daniel Jones. The Colts are 8-3. They're leading their division, and they're doing it with a quarterback New York decided wasn't good enough. The Giants are paying him $23 million to throw touchdowns in Indianapolis. And happy Thanksgiving, New York. The AFC West is thankful for watching the Chiefs lose on national television. Cowboys beat Kansas City 38-35 on Thanksgiving in Dallas, while all of America watched. Denver's sitting at 9-2, running away with the division, and they're thankful the dynasty finally has a flat tire. Patrick Mahomes can only pull so many rabbits out of so many hats before the hat runs out of rabbits. The NFC East. The NFC East is thankful for Jerry Jones accidentally stumbling into relevance again. The Cowboys beat the Chiefs on Thanksgiving. The Eagles lost to the Bears on Black Friday, and suddenly Dallas is back in the race. Nobody knows how to feel about this, least of all Jerry Jones, who's probably already planning the parade. The NFC North is thankful for the Bears not sucking for the first time since 2018. Chicago is 9-3 after beating the Eagles on Black Friday. The Packers beat the Lions on Thanksgiving. The division is wide open. It's chaos. It's beautiful. Nobody's safe. And for once, the Bears are part of the chaos instead of just watching it happen to them. This is the first winning season in 7 years. Let them have this. The NFC South is thankful for mediocrity keeping hope alive. The Buccaneers are 6-5. The Panthers are lurking right behind them. Nobody's good. Nobody's great. Everyone's just fine. This division is the participation trophy of the NFL. and they're all genuinely grateful for it. Because when you're mediocre, you're never out of it. You're never eliminated. You're never facing reality. You just keep showing up and hoping everyone else is equally as bad. It's working. The NFC West is thankful for Matthew Stafford, remembering he's Matthew Stafford. The Rams are 9-2. They've won 6 straight. Stafford is playing like an MVP. And in the process, they've made everyone forget that the 49ers even exist. Brock Purdy is somewhere icing his everything. The Seahawks are trying to keep up. The Cardinals are there. But this is Stafford's division now. And the Rams are thankful he decided to stop being 38 years old and start being 28 again. So there's your Thanksgiving gratitude list. 8 divisions, 8 things to be thankful for. Some divisions are grateful for success, some are grateful for chaos, and some are just grateful they're not the Giants, which honestly is a pretty low bar, but it's Thanksgiving. We take what we can get. I'm Bernie, and this is 4th and Long.
Well done, Bernie. Thanks for breaking that down. I will say it was enjoyable to watch Kansas City struggle on on a Thanksgiving Day there. So, very good job. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys. I hope this is our elastic pants episode here. You got a lot of fill there, Bernie. Thanks for all that knowledge there.
No problem.
All right, guys. It's now time to take a look at the console here. We're going to pick our players in this week's Wingman Jam.
Wingman Fantasy Football.
Wingman Jam with Bernie the Bounty Hunter and Amazing Spidey. Boom shakalaka.
All right, Bernie, didn't get time to make the pre-graphics here, so you have no idea what I'm picking. I'm gonna let you pick first. Who are you picking for your tandem this week in the Wingman Jam?
Well, I'm going to go out to the West Coast, and I'm going to pick the Los Angeles Chargers. They got the Raiders coming to town to face them. They're coming off of a not-so-great last game they played, coming off of a bye week, and Justin Herbert is going to have a bounce-back game, and Ladd McConkey is going to be his partner in crime there. So Herbert and McConkey for my Wingman Jam picks.
All right, good luck. I think you're going to need it. I'm going with the Tennessee Titans duo of Cam Ward and Chimmery DK. Oh, yeah, we're doing it. We're going for the glory. You're going to lose to the Titans. How do you just process the potential of that coming to be true here? What do you think about that?
Well, it could be worse. I could lose to Tyrone Tracey and Jackson Dart. So at least you picked two young up-and-coming rooks.
All right. I'm already in last place here, so I'm going for the glory play. Might as well go for it here. All right, here we go. All right, guys, we are finally going to get into you mentioned it last week, some segments that I'd like to do that we haven't had a chance to do, but we have a chance to settle some disputes here in this week's Fantasy Court.
Wingman Fantasy Football. Fantasy Court.
All rise.
I like your bailiff pose there, Bernie. That's really good. All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. So this time in the Fantasy Court, the question comes in. Actually, I'm bringing this one up here, so I'm just curious. You might have to recuse yourself on this one, Bernie, but we'll put it out there. What's your thoughts on how to handle if a fantasy manager has an inactive player in their starting lineup, especially towards the end of the season when playoff seeding and/or playoff berths are on the line? What say you about just the overall status of when a manager has a no-go in their lineup?
Well, if I'm playing them, I'm all for it. But if I took a step back and I was just looking at it as an outside observer, I would say 2 things. A, did they know that person was going to be inactive? So one way you could tell is if they haven't made any other lineup changes at all. And the second, which should probably be the first, is are they relevant? Are they in the playoff hunt? Are they a team that can win? If they're not, then that's a red flag. And if they haven't changed their lineup in 2 weeks, that's a red flag. And then, there's some argument to be had, but you can't manage somebody's team for them. If they're out, they're out. If they're not wanting to play, they're not wanting to play. That just sucks. That means that don't invite them back next year.
So a couple you mentioned very relevant points. A couple things here. So one thought was to have not mo- out there. One thought is if someone makes that mistake, to keep the league fair for everyone is to have like an automatic highest projected sub or something like that. Just so there's no zeros. I personally don't like that because we're not playing best ball here. We're managing our teams. We're setting the lineup. So if you're just playing the guys with the best projection each week, then I would just never set my lineup and just hope for the best and or do auto. It's like almost doing an auto pick at that point kind of thing.
Yeah, we're just doing optimal lineup. Whoever has the best optimal lineup wins.
Right. So another thing is, as much as most of us, to some degree, I'm not gonna take fantasy football, I guess, seriously, or at least a high priority in terms of our time and the scope of all things real life. It is not the most important thing. So I'm never gonna be like, oh, that guy is an idiot or he messed up, he should be kicked out. Like, I don't know what's going on in their life. There could have been something that would keep them out from being able to deal with something for 12, 18, 20, whatever it is. So I'd hate to be the one to like, you got to change your lineup, dude. He's like, man, I was in a car accident. Like, I'd feel worse than, you know what I mean? I'd rather just trust the people knowing. And it, like you said, to go back to what you said, this manager has been making moves, very moves with a lot of guile and strategy here. So they've been on top of their team all year long. This was a very much of a surprise that an inactive player was in the lineup. It seemed to benefit you this past week, just as it turned out. But in terms of relating it to playoff berths and seedings, the way I look at it as a commissioner, yes, I would want every line to be full or complete, whatever. But at the same time, like you said, if I was going against someone and they forgot, I'd be pretty excited that I'm getting a potential benefit here of not having a full lineup against me. So I couldn't in good conscience say, you've got to fix your lineup against Bernie, but don't fix it when no one else tell them to fix it when they're playing me. So I just say, don't say anything ever and be consistent.
Yeah. And I think it becomes an issue when it's a game time decision and then they just missed it, because sometimes we're all rushing to get our lineup set, but like we're doing other things. And oh man, I didn't check the news in time and a game already started, whatever the case is. But if you had a guy in your starting lineup that's been on IR for 2 weeks and he's still in yours, like that's different. That's like, hey, come on now. Everybody, that's the community getting together going, hey, you need to change your lineup, please.
Right. So you're the way I look at it, kind of the same way you're saying, you're always going to give someone a benefit of the doubt for the week that a mistake is a mistake, not intentional, not to help or hurt anybody. They hurt themselves and they probably didn't want to do that either. So again, if it's a trend or a habit, then that's a discussion for another time, whether you think that manager is serious enough. I say that in quotes, serious enough to be because I will say that's the good thing about any league out there is when you have teams that even when they're out of it, they still set their lineups. They still make moves. It just makes the whole league better. Because like you mentioned in shows past, those first 4 weeks are just as valuable as the last 4 weeks, even though it seems like they're more valuable later. If someone had a no show in week 3 and we didn't say anything about it now, you can't say anything about it in week 10 because it seems more important to potential seedings and or playoff berth.
Exactly.
All right. So I think we both look at the same way. You're going to give any manager 1 week benefit of the doubt, regardless, especially if they've shown a track record of being involved. If it's a habit of a negligent manager, once that 2.5 weeks go by, you're going to give them that personal message. Because at that point, you think you'd find out if they were in a big time, something was really wrong with them or their family, or they're out for 3 weeks. Anyone could have a bad weekend where they can't get to something due to something out of their control. And it's just the way it goes. Bank error in your favor sometimes, and bank error not in other times. So that's the way I kind of look at it. 1 week is just an anomaly. No malfeasance there. So I'm going to say, let this one slide and just now you're going to watch them a little bit and see if they make a mistake again. But like you said, this hurt a team who needed this win. So it wasn't like this was and we don't do any, we don't tank for draft picks or anything. There's no reason to lose a game other than, especially when you're playing for something. So I think it was just an unfortunate mistake and it benefited you this past week, but I would have taken the benefit as well if it was on my side.
Exactly.
All right, guys, it's time to get into this week's mailbag.
You've got mail.
You've got mail.
Oh, yes, wait a minute, Mr.
Wingman Fantasy Football.
Mailbag!
All right, this one comes in from Madden Boy 2027. Oh wow, this guy hasn't even been born yet. That's pretty interesting. All right, so this one is we've had the benefit of being able to record this later in the week because of the holiday week here. So we know the outcome of the Black Friday game. So Madden Boy 2027 asked, "Do you guys?" It has to be said. Do we believe in the Madden curse? Saquon Barkley had over 2,000 yards in rushing last year, had the most yards combined if you include playoffs, and now he is merely a run-of-the-mill running back. Bernie, what is your feelings, coincidence? How much stock do you take in this Madden curse? Because it's really taken hold, and he's not even been injured this year. This is just poor performance due to the team or the player himself.
Yeah, no Madden curse here. Madden curse is injury, not just bad
Okay.
performance or bad play calling or bad coaching or bad offensive line play or whatever the case is. Yeah, I would say not Madden curse, but unfortunate for Saquon Barkley. But when you have the kind of season he had last season, like there isn't like meeting that expectation. Everything you do is going to be below that expectation. This one just happens to be way below.
Well, it's so weird because I not recently, but going into this year, I was listening to our last year's getting into the like our primers and stuff,
Hmm.
and I had Barkley ranked low-ish, in that like 12 to 14 running, like a second, third round running back, not a first round running back. I'm like, I just don't trust him. He's only had 1.5 good years with the Giants. He's always been a hype guy, but with injuries, he's been kind of stifled here. And then so I had him low because of that, and he was awesome last year. But essentially, he's going back to where he's been his whole career. To be honest with you, a 1,200 yard, a 1,400 yard rusher, and 7 touchdowns. Last year was just he had 2 years combined into one, essentially. I'm not saying I think he's closer to last year than normal. I think this year, as we see the offense is not doing very well here for the Philadelphia Eagles, but
Yeah.
I honestly do consider this part of the curse. I understand your level of like he's not nothing awful happened to him other than stats, but I was not looking to draft Saquon Barkley because of not meeting expectations. Because how could you? And to the Madden cover, that combination of factors, I was a no go on Saquon Barkley unless it was late in the first round.
Who went? Do you remember who went before and after Saquon?
This year,
Yeah.
oh shoot, he went third or fourth.
Okay.
So McCaffrey went after him.
Okay.
Gibbs went either right before him or right after him because Gibbs was like 3 or 4.
Right. So you would have taken whoever went after him. You would have taken before if
I had
you
McCaffrey ranked number
if you were
1,
in that
so
spot.
I had
If
McCaffrey
you were
number
in that
1, and
spot,
then
yeah,
Bijan. So yeah,
yeah.
I still had
Hmm.
Barkley like 6 or 7 even this year. That's how at the highest. So all right, next we noticed you've changed the format of your Sunday morning quickie. Instead of just reading the ins and outs and groups, you're doing it in a game by game status. I'm going to ask you, Bernie, since I'm not the one taking this in, and I'll tell you my
Mhm.
perspective and how much harder one is the other. Do you like the Sunday morning quickie where just these are the guys that are out, these are the guys that are questionable and may or may not play depending on news, and these are the guys that are going to play, or do you like kind of breaking it down in a game by game basis?
No, I like the first format better
Oh,
because
good.
it
Okay.
it 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 fits what the show is supposed to be, a quickie.
I agree. Okay. I will say the other one's a lot harder to go through all the games and break them down that way as opposed to just
Yeah.
looking at the injury. So I might switch it back. It's hard because the amount of time it takes to make the forms, it's like I'm just gonna ride this one out because it takes just as much time to fix it back. But
Yeah.
all right, I appreciate that. I'm gonna keep that in mind because one was definitely harder than the other. Will admit.
Yeah.
Is there anything else in the mailbag down there? Do you see anything in there?
No, I just got one personal message on my phone here from Mr. What's the guy, Monopoly Money guy's name? Uh, the guy with the monocle.
Yeah, I don't know his character's name, to be honest with you.
Milton Bradley, is that his name?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. He wanted to know what the standings were for winning any prize money in our league.
I don't
So
have it in front
so
of me.
you get obviously for winning the league, you get a prize. If you win your division, you get a prize. If you get highest points, you get a prize. Is that it?
Yeah, so I'll have to go way back. There because I changed it a little bit this year, so the numbers aren't exactly the same. But essentially, yes, there's a payout for each division winner. We have 2 divisions in our league,
Mhm.
This is so you get regular season payouts is for division winner and overall points. So right now you get a payout for overall points as it stands now. If
Yep.
you're able to get top of your division as well, then that would be another payout. You can double dip if you earn those.
Yep.
Um,
And then just one single payout for winner. Does a runner up get a payout?
the runner up does get a payout. Yeah, I think it's pretty close to like a 2-1.
Yep.
Winner to second place. So the way I had it in the past, I don't know what the math. I changed the math a little bit this year. Here we go. I got it right here. It took me a second. All right. Oh, since you've asked, I might as well be clear here. Let's see. You get 150 for winning a division, 150 for point leader. Runner up gets 325, and the champ gets 625. So
There you go.
essentially, if you were the point leader, won the division, and got second place, you would earn the same as the person who won the championship, who was like a 5th seed or something.
Right, but if you won the division and the point leader and the whole thing, you're getting 925.
Yep.
That's a pretty nice day.
Yeah. The idea is like, because this game is so long, I'd hate championships what we're playing for. But if you're the best team over 15 weeks and you lose one game in the playoffs, you should be getting comparable to the person who gets second place, who that's all they did kind of thing.
Yep.
And then, and if you were able to get second place and got those all regular season accolades, you should be pretty much even to the guy who won, and that's all he did.
Right. So there's no highest weekly point total payout.
No, we had a vote for that, and it didn't quite make it this time around.
Gotcha.
But
Not on a weekly basis, just the overall.
It's all regular season, and then there's 3 regular season payouts and 2 playoff payouts, first and second
Got
place.
It. Very nice.
But thank you for that.
Thank you. Yep. Got it, Milton.
Yes, sir. Okay. All right, guys. Hey, I want to thank you so much for joining us, guys. I know this is a long one. Oh my gosh, this is a Thanksgiving Day special. My goodness. Okay. Nonetheless, I want to thank you all so much for joining us. You can find our audio feeds on your favorite podcasting platforms. You know which ones you use. Just search Wingman the League. It will come to the top of your search. But while you're there, hit the follow button, 5-star review, anything that will make us feel good about ourselves during this holiday time. Also, if you want to see our show, we've redecorated the bar room. We've got our Christmas decorations up. Go to our YouTube channel at wingmanfantasyfootball.com/YouTube or youtube.com/@wingmanfantasyfootball. When you head over there, guys, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, please. Let the bells ring. I don't know what that means. Anyway, and leave a comment and leave anything into our mailbag segment. With that being said, Bernie, I see you yawning there. It's time to let you go. May your glasses be full, your mugs stay frosty.
And make sure you turn your Christmas tree lights off at the end of the night.
Ooh. By the way, I got to go. I'll be right back. All right, bye, guys.
Bye.